Imagine a synagogue filled with the smell of burning oil and ancient wood, the low hum of prayer rising like smoke toward the raftered ceiling. Men wrap themselves in their talits, swaying in the familiar rhythm of 1,000 Sabbaths before this one. No one expects anything different today. Not the elders with their scrolls, not the merchants who slipped in late, not even the young rabbi from Nazareth who has just taken his seat among them. Then something tears through the room like a blade through still water. A man in the crowd begins to convulse, his voice rising into a sound that does not belong to any human throat, and every head turns, not toward the disruption, but toward Jesus. Because what comes out of that broken man's mouth is not a cry of madness. It is a confession of terror. The voice screams, "What do you want with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God." These words, recorded in the first chapter of the Gospel of Mark, are among the most extraordinary in all of Scripture. They are not spoken by a priest, a prophet, or a king. They are not uttered by Peter, who would stumble over his confession for years before finally getting it right at Caesarea Philippi. They are not proclaimed by John the Baptist, who himself sent messengers asking, "Are you the one who is to come, or should we expect someone else?" These words of absolute recognition, clear, precise, theologically exact, come from a demon. And that should stop every one of us cold. The people in that synagogue had watched Jesus grow up in the region. Some of them may have bought wood from Joseph's workshop in Nazareth, may have passed Mary in the marketplace, may have seen this young man pray at the same altar where they themselves had knelt since childhood. To them, he was familiar. To them, he was ordinary in the way that all holy things can appear ordinary when you are too close to see their true fire. They murmured in astonishment after the demon was silenced and cast out, saying, "What is this?" A new teaching, and with authority. They were astonished by the miracle, but still could not name what they had witnessed. They saw the power, but could not yet touch the person behind it. But the demon had no such confusion. The demon did not need years of discipleship, did not need the Sermon on the Mount, did not need the resurrection to finally believe. The demon knew the moment Jesus walked through the door. There is something profound and deeply unsettling hidden inside that truth, something that the church has often glossed over in its rush to reach the miracles. The enemy of every human soul, ancient, intelligent, and utterly corrupted, recognized the Son of God on sight. The darkness knew the light the way a prisoner knows the warden, the way a condemned man knows the judge. Not with love, but with absolute, shaking, uncontrollable certainty. Consider what this recognition implies about the nature of Jesus. The demon did not say, "You seem powerful," or "You appear to be a great teacher." It did not hedge its words or soften its confession with human doubt. It used a title, the Holy One of God, that carries the full weight of divine identity. This was not flattery. This was not admiration. This was a creature of darkness naming what it knew to be true. in the same way that a wolf circling a flame knows exactly what will happen if it steps too close. The demon confessed Jesus not because it wanted to, but because in his presence, the lie could no longer hold. Truth has a gravity that even rebellion cannot escape forever. And this was not a single incident. Across all four Gospels, this pattern repeats itself with stunning consistency. When Jesus crosses into the region of the Gerasenes and steps off the boat, a man possessed by a legion of demons comes running, not to attack, not to flee, but to fall at his feet. The text in Mark chapter 5 says the man worshipped him, and then the voice of the legion cries out, "What do you want with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? In God's name, don't torture me." The title again is precise, Son of the Most High God. Not a prophet. Not a Messiah figure. Not a holy man. The eternal Son of the living God, and they knew it, named it, and trembled before it. There is a verse in the letter of James, tucked quietly into the second chapter, that unlocks something essential about all of this. James writes, "You believe that there is one God." Even the demons believe that, and shudder. That word, shudder, in the original Greek, carries the image of hair standing on end. It is the reaction of a creature who has come face to face with something it cannot control, cannot deceive, and cannot survive. The demons did not merely acknowledge Jesus the way a student acknowledges a teacher. They reacted to him the way every created thing reacts when it stands exposed before its creator, with the full, terrible weight of accountability pressing down upon them. And yet, while the demons shuddered, the Pharisees debated. While the unclean spirits fell at his feet, the scribes questioned his authority. While darkness confessed the light, those who called themselves children of the light argued about where he had studied and whether his credentials were in order. This is the great and grieving irony at the center of the gospel story. The spiritually blind could not see what the spiritually enslaved could not deny. Those who had every reason to recognize the Messiah, the scrolls, the prophecies, the temple, the bloodline of Abraham, closed their eyes. And those who had every reason to hate what they saw could not look away. The contrast is not accidental. It is a mirror held up to every generation that follows, including our own. Here is the question that must follow you out of this moment and into the rest of this video. A question that is not merely theological, but deeply, personally urgent. If even the demons know exactly who Jesus is, then what is your excuse? What is the excuse of a generation that has more access to the gospel than any people in history? More translations, more sermons, more churches, more screens carrying the word into every corner of the world, and yet treats him like an option, a preference, a spiritual lifestyle choice? The demons were not confused about Jesus. They were not undecided. They did not scroll past him. And if the agents of darkness recognize the weight of his name, then perhaps the greatest question you and I must answer is not whether we believe he is real, but whether we have truly let that reality change us the way it changed every room he ever walked into. The darkness knew his name before the world did. And knowing that should make us wonder, do we know him as deeply as we claim? Subscribe to follow the complete journey through these hidden truths of Scripture. Your next revelation is already waiting.